Hi, I'm Lindsay, and I'm a program manager at Microsoft. And I've been working with Alistair over at Drawboard on their apps Bullclip and Drawboard PDF, and how they can take advantage of some of the new user experience features and some of the other technologies Microsoft has to offer.
Thanks, Lindsay. Hi, guys. It's great to be here. My name is Alistair. I'm the founder and CEO of Drawboard. And today's session, or this session, I'll talk a bit about our company and the problem that we're solving. I'll actually spend a lot of time on the problem that we're solving and how we used UWP and a number of Microsoft technologies to overcome some of the barriers of adoption to technology, and then focus on Bullclip. I also have Drawboard PDF as one of our applications, which is a session afterwards. And so the problem that we're solving is a pretty basic one that you might be familiar with yourself, but none so more than the industry that I came from, which was design and construction. In my previous role, I was working at a firm where they're probably still printing off millions of sheets of A1, A3 drawings and documents, and supporting A4 templated documents as well, so plans and documents. And we went through a pretty broken and archaic process of having to print them out, mark them up, scan them in. You can imagine that, what kind of problems that all really entailed. This is my experience. This is more in line with the work that I had, which was piping and instrumentation diagrams. You can see the detailed annotation that I'd have to go through. So the crux of the problem that we're really trying to solve is to get them off pen and paper and into a digital environment. And with Bullclip, so Drawboard PDF, which I'll talk about afterwards, is about PDF annotation and providing that experience, whereas Bullclip, in this session I'll talk about, we had a number of things that we really had to consider while building this application. That is to build something that was really intuitive, that people really wanted to use, but then also has to have a powerful feature set so that they can make more use of it. So it's about getting them into the application and then providing or delighting them with more powerful features so that they can really use it to really good effect. But then with Bullclip, it's about providing a real-time experience as well, so that whether they're on an iOS platform or on the web or Windows, then they're always updated at the same time. So using all those considerations, we had to build something from scratch, which was really quite a difficult number of things to overcome to achieve a great experience. So I wanted to walk through the application to show you how exactly we did that. I'm going to log out now just to start from the get-go. I'll log in here, if I can remember my credentials. So what you'll notice here, or actually what you probably didn't notice by design, is that we have a number of transitions and loading animations that keep the user updated about what's happening. You might realize that because we're always providing real-time context, then we're pulling down data from the server and pulling in lists. And so one way to keep the user from not being frustrated all the time is to keep them occupied with some nice transitions and provide them context that something is happening behind the scenes. It's about giving them the comfort that they're getting to the right place that they're after without giving them static pages. So all the way through this, we're really trying to provide them a gateway to where they really need to be, which is the canvas, which I'll get to in a moment. So you can see here we really focused on providing a clean UX and UI. We got rid of as much UI noise as possible, getting rid of the lines or delineation between certain areas, so that we make use of hover. Hover is a really great thing that UWP is providing us, and we can spotlight the different areas where they are. So again, we're really trying to mimic what's happening in real life and at the user's desk. In my user experiences, well, my previous career, we were working on lots of projects, so we need to see all the projects that we have available. And when I'm thinking about the project that I want to get into, I'm visualizing what it looks like. So we provide the option to give a background image to each one of these tiles, so that someone can instinctively go to the project that they're working on. And then we provide context of what's happening there. It's real-time information, so you'll see that there's, in the first one there's 25 files in there and 13 people working on that project. And as soon as someone updates any of that, that comes in real time to the user. Let me jump into this one again. And I'll point out this a lot throughout the presentation. We have a lot of transitions and loading animations to give a beautiful experience so that we can work behind the scenes and provide a list. And you'll notice again we're providing a clean UI, introducing hover so that we can give a really smooth experience for the user. Again, transitions, so if we flip to the documents panel, then I think our amazing UI developer always says that if it can animate, then it should animate. So every point we can provide a good experience for that, we'll absolutely do it. So I'll jump into where the magic happens. So keep in mind that this is a live document. Anyone that's viewing this, whether on iOS, web, or Windows, will be literally or virtually on the same page at the same time. So, for example, I've got Lindsay here. Well, I've got it on the web. I'm not sure if you can see this, but I've got a web version of this. So whatever I do happens in real time. And one of the cool things, which I'll touch on later, is that I started this project back in Australia in Melbourne. So this is going back to a data center in Melbourne and then coming all the way back here. So I'm just drawing a revision cloud on the web version. It's coming up in my UWP version straight away. But I want to walk you through the user experience of the application or the user journey. So again, we're talking about design professionals, architects, construction people, and engineering professionals that have to do a lot of their work typically these days on pen and paper. So how do we transition them into a digital environment? Because as you can imagine, there's a lot of advantages that you get in a digital environment with the metadata and being able to do batch processes, copying and pasting. You get a lot more oomph and a lot more bang for buck being inside a digital environment than on pen and paper. But we're a big believer in that you win the customer within the first 20 to 30 seconds of the user experience. It's your window of opportunity to really get their buy-in for the application. And so what we do is we mimic what they have at their desk. They might have an A3, A1 drawing at their desk and have a number of tools and pens and papers and rulers by the side. So how do we solve that problem in the first 20 seconds? Well, we put them into a default mode. And this is one of the great things about UWP. It provides and Surface is that it provides an environment where you can put them into a full real estate view, give them the most commonly used tool that they have with, say, a red pen here. And because Surface differentiates between pen and touch, then they can experience the digital canvas just like they would expect on any touch device. They can pan and zoom with their fingers and then be able to mark up just like it's pen and paper. So I'll write something here like that, and then the other person on the other side of the screen can write something as well, like Lindsay here. And so we provide those aha moments as quick as possible for the user. And just like the table and the desk that they're at, then they'll have multiple pens and highlighters. And so we provide that in the favorites bar on the right-hand side. So hopefully at that point we've achieved a number of things. We got them to the canvas as soon as possible with some nice smooth transitions and a nice user experience all the way through to getting them to have utility within the app within the first 30 seconds. But then what do we want the user to do next? Well, there are a number of UX things that we can provide, such as you might have noticed that we're drawing attention to the top right-hand corner. So we're spotlighting an area where we want them to go next. And if I tap that, it'll open up into a tools blade where this is the next point of action where we want the user to explore. And so they can go through the application in a top-down approach in the tools blade and select the tool that they're after. So say if I'm after a cloud revision tool, then I can choose that. I can adjust the width of it. Fantastic. Yeah. The demo gods are looking after me.
It's an insider build.
So let me just jump back into this. I really want to walk through the tools that we have available and some of the things that we do to update them of what's going on. I'll jump back into this one here. So you'll notice that there's a preview, and if I have that pen open, you can see the preview update in real time to know where they are on the page or what that ink will look like on the page, so that if I zoom all the way in, then they can select that and know and have comfort that they know that that pen will look just like what that is on the screen. So we talk to our users very often. It's one of the things about building a successful app, targeting a user base. You've got to talk to them as much as possible and get their feedback. And you know, if you're replacing an analog means with a digital product, then yeah, you ask them what can we do better to make the application much more smooth. And so some of the feedback we got was, we don't know where we are on the page. We don't know what the tool is going to look like, so we provide that animation and that preview. The other cool things that we have with Bullclip, I'll just walk them through a little bit, is that while we have the real-time aspect of collaborating with others, then we have a contributors panel, so I can toggle on and toggle off people's annotations, so I can see who's working on what and where they're working. I can set them into unique colors, so I can see, you know, the list of people on the panel and where they are on the page. I also have a draft and a public layer, so I can do something in my draft mode. Again, mimicking what happens in real life. You'll print out a check print file or a draft file for you to work on, and then when you're happy with it, then you can push that to the master layer or the public layer, so that is now viewable by everyone. And then, yeah, like I said before, marrying the analog with the digital, so you've got the great handwriting, and you can see, you know, the great handwriting that's achievable in there, and then being able to do digital operations, so I can copy that and paste that to another section within the application. I can group stuff. I can select a group of annotations and be able to copy that, and providing a nice user interface with it. So one of the problems that the industry faces is that, you know, we tried to give them desktop applications with keyboard and mouse interactions, but there was a really large barrier to adoption. So, you know, we identified the opportunity with working with Surface and UWP to really replace it with a delightful and a great user experience, and then provide all the digital benefits that go along with it. So we focused on the problem and then brought in the power punches of you know, all those great things. And so one of the things about our industry is being real-time connected. If you're out in the field, you need to be working with someone that's in the office, or if you're in one office and talking to another office, then you need to be talking to them in real time, because version control is such a big issue in this industry. So we knew that we had to keep everyone on the same page as fast as possible, as real time as possible, because that's so valuable. So when we were building this application, like I said, there were three big things that we needed to consider, and real-time aspect or collaboration was a major component of that. Then the technologies that we had available to build that with were presented to us, and we chose Microsoft Orleans, Project Orleans, because you know, it really let us focus on our business logic and our core issues. And so Orleans, I'm not sure if you're familiar with, it's built on the Azure stack, and it's born in the cloud. It's used by Halo 4 and 5, and is used by a number of Microsoft services. So it was a really great way for us to introduce syncing into our application, and that really led us into some co-engineering efforts with Microsoft, because it's an open source community, and we were able to talk directly to the team that are working on Orleans and get their input and work together. So yeah, there were a number of ways that, and I think that our UI developer, Justin, he's very active on the Twitter feed, and so he was talking to Lindsay before I even knew it, working on a number of UI controls.
Yeah, with Windows UI, we really like to reach out to as many developers we can who are doing cool stuff, So that's actually how we got in touch with Drawboard and with Alistair's UI dev, Justin. And if any of you watched the keynote this morning and saw some of the new Fluent design stuff we're introducing, we were actually working with these guys on integrating things like light and blur into their application kind of ahead of time so that they can be ahead of the curve on some of these new features and how to integrate them. So
yeah, in that way, we were really able to focus in on the problem and then marry up UWP and Surface and some of the great synchronization and cloud tools from Microsoft. And I know that we're at a Windows Developer Conference, and I'm promoting a lot of the stack, but I honestly could say that we wouldn't be here without the tools that allowed us to build on a cross-platform environment. So yeah, it's been a great journey, and hopefully we can continue on. Thank you very much.